Here that's green will actually go, it'll go to blue first when you start running low, and it'll go to red when there's no more water. And it gets this information based on low water.
So it's not feeding it back to like an app where you can see it on your phone.
Yeah, as you can take it out.
Yeah. But if you're not in the shed, right?
Yeah, you would have to go and check out.
Yeah.
Maybe in the future we could work on an app or something on the phone. As of right now.
Cool. So where do we sign? How much do you need?
So right now we're not actually trying to start a business. We'd like to work on it more and get it sort of more, clean off the edges. Make it a little more presentable, and then maybe we can talk about stuff.
Very cool.
It would be a target.
We need.
Sit by Christmas. I got a question. So is it programmed based on like the plant type in a sense?
No.
Okay.
It's just the soil moisture basically is what it's like really based off of. If it's too dry, then it'll continue to water. If it's too moist, then it'll stop.
I think to the point that Kanisha was raising, like she likes plants, and different plants have different, needs of how much moisture it needs. So
I think that'll also go back into like coding, and we would probably create different codes for each plant. Because some plants do need more water, some plants need less water. So.
Any more questions?
How long does it take for the microgreens to sprout from the time you plant them?
About 1 to 2 weeks.
If we could implement a way to use this system on the microgreens into business, I feel like that could go somewhere.
See, right?
If, I'm not sure y'all are, I guess, aware yet, but do you know if anyone has created this, what you have?
Like I said, I'm not sure. I don't think there has been anything like this, but I'm not too well versed in this field, so it might just be because I don't know.
Okay. Here's why I asked.
Well,
Just because I was thinking it's such a beautiful idea and product that you all have here that if, in the future while you're protecting it, if you want to protect that for yourself, it might be helpful to work with someone who can patent it or, to give you that option in the future.
WGC has an unlimited, infinite life license. We won't do you like the universities do. Own your life. We won't do that. But Kyle, you laughing kind of hard over there.
Good job.
Great job.
So just curious, what did you say was too much moisture or too little moisture to make it work? Like, what was that based on?
It was in the code, so we can, at any time, even now, we could connect the chip to the computer, and we could change the numbers, but that's, it just depends on what you want and what your goals are with the. Thank you, guys.
Good job. So what I heard was innovation meets technology meets hydroponics, microgreens, marketing, proof of concept, working together to solve problems, and get some patents out there too. So up next, we're going to have our fashion design team come up. This has been one of our most exciting classes. Kids are very interactive. They take multiple classes. You may see some of the same faces, but we're going to have them come up as well and show off their design and market. Where is coming?
Hello, how y'all doing? My name is Dante. I am the teacher for the fashion design class. I've been doing it for my third session. Every time I do this, it gets a little bit more interesting, it gets a little bit better, I learn a lot more. When I first started this, we only really did vinyl, which is really just like printing with any type of heating equipment, which could be an iron, a heat press, anything like that. But as we got on, I figured that, well, I'm only so limited, by this one thing. And so I kind of started to teach myself a little bit more about fashion design as we went on. So now we're to the point where we not only do vinyl, but we do embroidery and we do sewing. And so the kids learn a little bit of all of that in their actual process of fashion design. I'm really big on entrepreneurship. I've been my own entrepreneur for about 5 years now. And nothing wrong with a 9 to 5, you know what I'm saying? I'm saying nothing wrong with that. But I think in this time now, if we talk about innovation, this is entrepreneurship is a way to kind of reach that freedom. And even though you think about fashion design, hydroponics, the actual coding is very big when you start to think about what you want to give back. But as simple as people just knowing who you are is where I come in. And branding and marketing for fashion, for any type of branding, if we're talking about the different companies that these guys are making, people, like they said, you want people to know about that. And so that's, again, when we come in and I teach fashion. And so in that, we teach how to market what you make, and I do it in a clothes design. So all the kids are in the beginning required to create their own brand. And then once they create their own brand, I teach them basically how to put it out on their shirts, on anything they do, from shorts to pants to, we do t-shirts because it kind of keeps it simple. So every kid has made their own brand, their own shirt. You want to show them your shirt? So as you can see, we start off by something, and it's so simple, as you think about it. But when this right here is the Nike sign, and Nike is making as much money as Nike makes, something like this is actually very important. And so basically, I give all the kids their own way to express themselves, find their brand. The shirt that she's holding actually represents all the kids. All their logos plus the William Grove is on this shirt, and they all actually learn how to sew on that shirt. So the design pattern that you see, they all sewed that. They took turns figuring out how to do it, and it actually was pretty fun. So I'll let them talk and kind of explain where some of their logos came from. My logo is the Free God logo down here, but every other logo is our kids. So, like I said, y'all want to kind of explain where you got your logo from or where you got your idea from. Was it easy or hard? What you learned?
My logo is back here, but my logo is powered, but it has a star in it, so like star powered, the same thing. But I did it because he was talking about how like brands can really like make or break their product, and I thought it was like really cool. So I just put something I like, and yeah, that's how I got powered because I like stars.
My logo is Spark. Honestly, there's no reason behind it. It's just like, just cute. So,
Yeah, and then we have 3 other people who are also in this class.
Sit up.
Come on.
Sit up.
So, in the beginning, Dante here said that we needed to, well, I guess, to help us generate ideas, we should use our name. This is like, my middle name is Nolan, so like, I thought it would be clever to use like no name, like a little name. This font isn't really the one I exactly wanted, but it's kind of there.
My look right here is called food service. Like me personally, I'm a super activity, so like, yeah, I feel that idea. This is a big idea, yeah, that's why I chose it.
My name is Cher. Right? This is my little right here. I was first messing around, trying to put a star, maybe some words, but I put a box and I overlapped it with another box and I put in my initial inside. It's a cursive C. I wrote it myself. And I really like it.
What's something that y'all learned that y'all didn't know before?
I learned how to sew actually with a machine. So I can do it myself now. I don't have to like rely on my dad to fix my clothes the day I need it. Instead of waiting the same exact day, like 1 hour before I need to wear something for him to like finally fix it. Or sometimes doesn't even fix it at all.
Yeah, I want to add on to that. So really, if we have like clothes that we want like to be made, we would give it to our dad because my dad actually has his own fashion company. He has his own like materials. He would make clothing for like people of like our religion, you know. But sometimes if it's like rich, he has his own sewing machine, he has his own like materials. He would fix it for us, like for us, right? If there's anything wrong, you know, we could actually go and use his stuff if we would like. And we could like make ourselves.
Yeah, I think one thing that I took away from this class is definitely sewing, but also just like thinking outside the box. Because thinking about the brand was much harder than it seemed, but once you got it down, it was like, yeah, this is what I want. Like, this is it.
Love it. That's good.
And could you say your names?
For us.
I'm into. Yeah, do I have to spell it?
Yeah.
I'm 11th grade.
I'm Maddie and I'm in 8th grade.
I'm Isaiah, I'm in 8th grade.
I'm in 10th grade.
Chef, I'm in
We have one more. Genesis actually had the most interesting logo. When I was trying to teach the kids about creating a logo, I didn't want them to like lose their minds and like, oh, I have to like make this one thing that's like so important. I wanted them to just kind of be free thought, you know, in what they created. And Genesis had this idea that I told her that it wasn't always what you like. It might not be something that you like, and she hates spiders. So her name starts with a G. Her favorite number is 19, and she hates spiders. So she created a logo called G19, and that's where it comes from. But it just kind of teaches you to be inspired by all things. Like they said, I really try to teach to think outside the box. It doesn't always have to be something that everybody per se agrees with, but something that always represents you and something that you'll always, you know, remember. And so that was the big thing. They did this all themselves. I just kind of guided them, you know. So yeah, they are the innovators for sure, for sure. Anything else?
Any questions?
Any questions? Yes, any questions?
Not taking this class, do you guys think that maybe you guys may shadow your father, or is this has this sparked like new interest for you or appreciation for what your dad does, or maybe excited to have different ideas for your dad and the clothing and that he creates?
Honestly, when I started this class, I actually didn't really think of my dad at that moment. Because I honestly kind of forgot that he did clothes. Yeah. Because I kind of like stopped asking him to fix stuff for me. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so. What about you? What about you?
I just want to know, like, now that you guys taking this class, kind of have an idea of what goes into fashion, does it want you to kind of see, like, shadow him, like see what he's doing, or maybe have any ideas of patterns or things of, like you said, cultural clothing? Does it make you more prone to want to get involved?
While I was in this class, my view of fashion has completely changed. Right? I think about it a lot more, and I would love to know what my dad thinks about fashion. You know? Like, what made him start doing this? What made him like decide to buy things in order to make other things?
Yeah. Awesome.
Good job, man.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Seconds later.
Oh, thank you.
Right, so, last up here, we are having our media production team. You see some of the students around on cameras, Fujifilm cameras, and, we have Reed and Jacket. We'll have some of the students come up and talk about what you learned in this, program. And peace, everybody. My name is Tariq Sahali. I am a long-time resident and victim of Seattle's central area. And I say that jokingly because really I haven't been victimized by very much, but I have benefited wildly from living here in this area. I came here in the 90s, good old 90s. I wasn't fortunate enough to be born here. I'm from LA, so you can curse me later. But I started high school here. So like many of you at this age, we're sort of at that point of having to learn responsibility and learn how to sort of contort ourselves in the public view. And how that was taught to me was actually through the lens, quite literally, of media. And so everything that I learned had to be by way of a wire or some sort of technology. And from that, I've pretty much had my whole life secured from it. Like literally everything that I've done has been comfortably done so by what was taught. And so there were programs back in the day from the Central Area Motivation Program camp that was called ROPE. It was a rites of passage experience. And that whole experience was about the skills that you learn from the young teenage years all the way through about early adulthood, so about 25. And so it's been, I should say programs like that have been missing. We had that program, it ended about maybe mid-90s. We had the Parks Department try to step in and do something called Rec Tech, sort of as a pacifier from the community centers. And each of these programs were well-intended, but they oftentimes missed the mark, because they were trying to serve a community or a population that was always changing. So, we know how the Central District used to be. We know how it was, say, just 10 years ago when we actually had a different area at Midtown, right there on Union. It was a whole different little shopping area, the post office and whatnot, but all of that is way different. It's been developed, it's been maximized. If you were really look at it, you wouldn't even think that a Black community really thrived right there in that one intersection. But fast forward to today, we have a new population that is still the old population, but it still represents sort of a mix of what Seattle has to offer. And you'd think that most of the education would be coming out of the high schools. And you'd be surprised to find out that very little of it is. Most of that education is actually coming from where our young folks interact directly with business, with their community leaders, and interface with their peers. And all of this more or less shows itself in what you see on the street. So all of that is a variety of things. I'm not saying good, bad, or otherwise. I'm just saying you see it. And what we've tried to do with this program here with Africatown and William Grose is try to teach or foster responsible media production. And this is more than just saying, I want to be in the limelight, I want to be on a platform or a website, I want to have X million number of followers, but it's actually thinking that I want to contribute and give back to the community that has fostered me. At least I'm hoping that our individuals in this program have learned that. So between Ben, Barack, Yadu, JJ, who else do we have? Anybody back there? We have EJ on the camera over here, and we have a couple of other students. They were able to more or less open up their ears and make their hearts available to the direction that myself and Anthony Tackett were able to provide them. And we're experienced in our own right, but most of it has to do with the fact that we just love being in this place and giving back to these young individuals. I can't even call them kids because that's just like an insult to their intelligence. So let me go ahead and wrap up. The point I'm trying to make is each of you now kind of have that same responsibility, and I hope that in the future you find yourself in a position where you can take time out of your busy schedule, no matter when that may be, take time to open up your skill set, your repertoire, your experience to younger individuals who are hoping to figure out a direction in life, because it's at these points that they can either decide to do the best or the worst with their time. So with that, who wants to be the first one to give their presentation? And I'm going to really pick because Yeru's presentation is already up. So can we have them do it?
I could.
They're right here.
I love how motivated they are.
So let's step up and have you guys give your presentation.
You started designing and you can sell this $5 spatula on
So,
Amazon.
I'm sorry that YouTube wants to always tell you something.
Hi, sorry. Thank you for introducing me. Can you tell me who you are and a bit about yourself?
My name is Lynn, and I am a therapist in private practice, and I'm also a poet.
Oh, how many books have you written, and what are the titles?
I've written two. The first one was called Two, and the second one is One Soul.
Nice. Where are you reading it from?
I'm listening to Grose.
So when did you start your business?
It was towards the end of 2023. Winter.
How do you think like your business has shaped you as a person?
That's a good question. It's challenged me more in terms of a lot about just running a business that I didn't know, and that I'm still learning really, and so it changed me. And that it's just meant that I have to grow my skill set, and so yeah, just a lot of learning around what it means to run a business and how to do things like billing and scheduling appointments, and there's all this other legal stuff too, like getting a license, which came first.
So what were the biggest challenges to run your business?
I'd say just staying on top of things, what forms need to be submitted by when, getting different reports out to different people, like you to report certain things to the state, different things to the Department of Health, which is so that active, operating people, that kind of information is overwhelming. I think I feel a little more confident now that, dotted all the I's, crossed the T's.
What's the name of your business?
C2 Group Counseling.
Why did you choose that name?
I think
So I interviewed Elin Hewitt, and she's an entrepreneur. She has her own counseling business called C2 Counseling. She's also a poet, and she has two books called Moonful and Plenty. And Moonful actually is like, it's her newest book, and she's like accepting pre-orders right now.
So did anybody have any questions for Yaru on their presentation?
Yes. Where do you come up with your questions?
Well, I kind of did like the who and why, and then I also kind of just like empathize.
Were you nervous?
Yeah. I also like just came out of auto practice, so I wasn't that.
Was this your first time interviewing someone in this way, with like this class? Is it your first experience with doing something like that?
No, I did like a screenwriting class, and we had to like kind of interview. So, but it's still kind of nerve-wracking.
know the subject of your interview and what made you choose her?
She's my godmom. So she's a business owner, and I know that she's an author. She has really good books, and so I thought she'd be very interesting.
How was your favorite part from the program?
I like editing today. I'm really excited. It was kind of hard, but it was also really fun.
If you had to choose between being on the camera, editing, or being behind the camera shooting, which part do you enjoy the most?
I like being on camera and editing. Sometimes that's fun, but also like I said, I kind of get nervous when I'm on camera, like presenting. But I think it's also really fun, and I think editing is fun because I don't know, I just really like it.
I have one more question. What advice would you give to someone who's looking at classes at WGC and specifically this class? What advice would you give to another student who's potentially wanting to take this class?
Maybe like it's okay if you don't know something. Like just ask questions or
My name is Benjamin, and I'm here with Mr. Watson. Here, thank you, Mr.
So this was a recent interview I had with Mr. Joaquin over there, and I got to learn a lot about why he works with Africatown and what he does over there.
What did you learn?
Who inspired him there and stuff.
Who really inspired him?
He said a lot was like his father and like Malcolm X and a couple other black activists that are very known in the black community.
What do you like the most about this whole process?
Interviewing him because he was like a role model to me, so I got to look up and hear more things about him.
How did you find out about the program?
I did a class here outside this class, and I met a couple of friends and stuff, so yeah. Any more questions?
What do you like most about the process?
Like different things about him and learning about his life, like what I could add on to my life, what he did to his.
Sounds great.
I'm Parag, and the thing that I was doing in the interview is that I was interviewing the president, I was interviewing the president of Africatown.
This one is
And what I learned from him is a lot about being an activist.
No, it's
and what he stood for, and using creativity. Do you guys have any questions?
What was your favorite part of it?
The favorite part of it was when I was in the interview and I was learning a lot. That's one of the questions.
After the interview, what did you take away from speaking with Mike King?
The way is how to stood up, to stood up for what is right, and on using your creativity.
So what did you learn that you did not know before you took this program?
What I learned is that he was one of the student activists who was going to the school district, demanding more black teachers, more black studies.
Did you learn how to edit before that? Did you know how to edit video before this program? But you learned that skill before?
Yes. Anybody else?
I'll ask the same question I was asked before. So do you enjoy editing versus being behind the camera and creating things? Like, what do you enjoy most?
Creating the videos.
Creating video. Next slide, please.
Any questions?
Wait.
No.
They're good.
They're good. Yeah, for sure. Like, I don't wanna go there. Thank you very much.
Hey, Jeremiah, it's right here. How's it? How's your week been?
It's good, but we got a great today when I came in and was able to get interviews, good.
I'm glad this is a great opportunity that you've been in. And I've been able to see a lot of people in my life, but it's an honor to have someone like you who has done so much, and I'm able to experience that through your thoughts and what's going on in the future.
So much better, so you get, learn the past and learn, the lessons that we learned, and that's valuable for the future. So,
Yeah.
especially the mathematics major, man, that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I learned a lot. I learned from just like my past and me growing up. Not a lot of black people being able to have the opportunity for teachers or being able to have this ability to be able to teach. And I want to meet that outcome that's going on in our generation, especially for how young we are. And I want to make sure that younger people and black kids can be able to have some of that thing that's never done that to teach them my way around myself. I just want to be able to
I'll tell you something, in 7th grade when I was at Washington Middle School, I was the first student to go on strike against the Seattle Public Schools. I fought against more African American male teachers as well. My first student.
All right. Say it again. My name is JJ or Jeremiah, either one. My point with Mr. Joaquin that you were getting for the interview was to get on a deeper level. As I'm 18 right now, I'm about to go to college and go to university as a black man into society. I wanted to go deeper on Mr. Joaquin's life, but also on a deeper level of what's going on in society and how multiple demographics and black people, but also other colors going through a lot through around Seattle, and that's when I go to talk about Africatown, about how he's been doing it, how strong he's been working to make sure that people are homeless and people are able to have homeless. So I wanted to go a little more deeper on that background of his life, but also kind of put in my life situations so we can have a full conversation. Which is something. Anyone has any questions?
Where do you want to go?
Tim. Correct.
It didn't seem like you were really too nervous. Were you pretty confident when you were in front of the camera? Did you feel confident? How did you feel?
Yeah, I feel a lot more confident when I'm talking about something that I really love. When I'm talking about something I really care about too, it just flows by my mind and just
Slow up.
What inspired you to want to teach math?
It came through my mom and my older big brother because they love math too. And then I had a really wonderful teacher in sophomore year where she taught math but in a relaxed way. I would be able to know math and also be able to not stress on my grades. So math is such a big subject, especially for black people. Not a lot of people like math, and I want to break that out. I want to make sure people are able to have that whole life how I do. So,
What level do you want to teach?
still on that, still thinking about that. But yeah, I might start at Grose, shorter, like elementary.
If you can incorporate what you learned here into, like you said, maybe teaching other students, like the media, the video and stuff, and incorporate maybe into the classroom, teaching them. Do you think that's pretty good?
I definitely use that. I probably use that. I probably could use it in some way, kind of like a math problem with that stories and stuff. I will probably try to mix in some type of history, maybe some like things that kids can be interested in, but also like kind of bring in the enthusiasm of like our community with it and just kind of give them information about how it works.
Is this the first time you've taken this program, this class?
I think, yeah.
I was wondering, like, if you were like certain subjects within that field that interests you to drive you to want to teach math?
Yeah, I looked at like marketing. I've looked into that. I've looked at a lot of like marketing numbers. I've worked with a lot of numbers throughout my life. Mathematics, I like more because I just want to be the part of teaching others, but that can be to me doing business too, and I can teach others too. So
Are you for hire?
I'm currently doing a side job with my friends with editing too, so I'm pretty busy right now too, and doing volleyball stuff.
Okay, good to know.
My question is, how did you get your sound to work?
See, that's the thing. A lot of editing. I was editing to the last second. This is last week that I just now, so I took a lot of work with editing, and I had to use a different software that I use. So a lot of practice from editing at home.
That's how your sound was so much better?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So everybody had the same equipment, but in the editing, you brought the sound out.
Great. Absolutely.
So really, just to wrap up for this media portion, I guess you can see the variety of videos that were produced, and all of that goes to show that everyone starts somewhere. Every one of those videos is just the starting point of probably what's going to be a pretty fruitful career if they ever decide to just go into media. But this is going to stand as a testament because for each individual video, it only gets better after this. So for each individual maker, if you have any part of it that bugs you, great. Fix it now, fix it later, or fix it in the future. But that's what you're going to have to do every time. So just remember, when you sit down and have an interview,
You do a lot. When you sit down and edit, it takes a lot of time. When you have to craft those questions, you have to think through them, and sometimes the question might not hit, or you might not even be able to hear it. But long story short, I want to make sure we recognize all of these young folks for the step that they've taken in sort of making themselves vulnerable and showing you their work, and also presenting it to the community, because there's going to be a lot more of that. Also, for each of the other classes, if you need any sort of promotional video done, you know who to talk to. If you have a fashion label, if you have any sort of design or other technical ability that you want promoted, talk to my people. They have equipment, they have facilities, they actually have good questions to ask you. Any questions?
I have a question. So, did you all do this for all the interviews? Did y'all do research before? Because it seemed pretty. You guys had good questions. It was like you guys challenged me with your questions.
So to give you a little background information, they went through a lecture first. How many hours was the lecture? The first week, pretty much, we spent in lecture going over a number of topics, which pretty much just gave them the pointers on responsible and ethical usage of media, how they should consider their subject, what questions they should consider to not be prying or to seem a bit obtuse, things of that nature. And also how to not do things that might be regretful down the line. Remember how they talk about our permanent record? We didn't have a permanent record, but they do. YouTube, this is going to be on there forever. So with that, they had to go through a lot of what I would say soft media skills, and that probably was the most boring part. But fortunately, as soon as they were done with it, they took everything that was said and immediately used it for how they formed their questions. And what they did was go over a technique called the W5. Not very complicated. Who, what, where, when, how, if you want to consider the W at the end. But just keeping it basic and using that as a guideline as to how they can either present or cover the topic or topics at hand. And I think they did a great job of it. So that's it. Oh yeah, make sure you guys sign up for the next session.
Yeah. Oh, can I ask a question? So, do you just continue on where this session is? Are there different interviews advanced?
There could be, and it really depends on the more or less class load that we have. Everyone had a variety of skills, starting from I've never done any video to I have side gigs with my own editing videos. So, with that all, we kind of approach it in a way that everyone can understand it. But the next time around, we probably will have a mix of skill levels. So, we'll start low, we'll start slow, then we'll speed up, and at the end, you might be the last person editing, or you might be the first person done. Yeah. So, it all shows in the video, though.
Awesome. Thank you.
Great job, great job. Give it a quick question. How long do you think they were assigned to a class? How many sessions do you think they did? Just curious. How long? 4 weeks, 3 weeks, 5 weeks? So 6? 3 sessions.
Wow.
3 sessions. Intense 3 sessions, right? Once a week, 3 weeks. Instructor came in, students were in the right mindset, they were excited, they were eager to learn, understand conceptually how things work, cameras, they didn't know any of that, right, for the most part. And they had to learn how to apply programs, applications to use it for editing. Now, that's really a major flex, right? When you think about it. It's one thing to just have a camera or computer, but how do you really use it? So they're ready to kind of dive into that, so we'll ask you a question. 3 weeks of this, or 3 sessions, imagine they had 8. They had 8 sessions. So you didn't see a gap in that, right? It's the dedication to what we're doing here, is the understanding of the assignment, it's the eagerness to be a part of the community and to give your best, and that's what we've shown. I have one more presentation to show you guys, and then we are going to wrap up for the evening, and then I'm going to bring CEO Roxanne Garrett at the end of that. Our AR/VR team, they're going to come up here and give you an understanding of what they do and how this relates to the innovation business at WGC.
How long were those sessions?
They were a little bit, 2.5, 3 hours.
9 hours.
9 hours.
Hi, welcome
my name is Bizarre Munje, and I get to oversee the fullest class at Avella, I call it. And this is my personal favorite. It's extended reality. So pretty much, this is the class that the goal is to be for research, right? We have all these students engaging in computing education. They play video games. They do all these different processes at home. How can we make learning computer science more relatable? Something that they know, something that is not just the end goal where you make a game and you move on, but what about the process of learning and connecting it to something you're already related to makes it interesting? Mostly at a young age, what does that mean for a new student who's never made any computing, any coding? You know, how do you make money from your games? Things that you already know, and introducing all the other cool concepts around how our games made, machine learning, AI, and we get to have a cool class today that we have our instructor is going to share a lot more than I'm going to share. So I'm going to give it to Basil to go ahead.
Yeah, as I said, I'm Basil. I'm a freshman at UW, and I have had the privilege of being able to teach the XR class here at the William Grose Center. Unfortunately, our students are on vacation. It's a pretty unique circumstance, but I'll still go through a little short presentation about what we did and where we are going in the future. So, for those who don't know, extended reality is essentially an umbrella term that encompasses immersive technologies, so including augmented reality, mixed reality, and virtual reality. So what are these specific ones? Augmented reality is essentially the digital overlay over the real world, and what this means is basically it's anything from camera filters to games like Pokemon Go, to Google's AR navigation, and even interactive murals. Yeah. Virtual reality, on the other hand, creates a fully digital world, and you can interact and access this digital world with your wearables or headset. We're talking about this headset, but yeah. And you can use this to do a multitude of different things. Lastly, mixed reality is where we get when we combine augmented virtual reality. Essentially, we create a simulation of the real world and put digital aspects on top of that. So we can access both the real world and the digital world at the same time. So here are just a couple of projects that we worked on. So if you guys want to take out your phones and scan this QR code over here, what it is essentially it displays a 3D model on your screen. Oh, really? Okay, so I'll set up the achievement presentation and I'll do it myself, right? So we had the QR code which you guys can't access anymore, but basically what that will do is it will display something on your screen using your camera, so you can have anything from like a small 3D model, some art, or anything like that. So some interactive murals, we have image recognition, just a lot of AR different stuff. So our students got to work on creating their own QR codes and then putting their own models and stuff inside of it so that someone can see like their trace that they made with a piece of AR. And then also we did a lot of coding in A-Frame, which is a framework for 3GS. And essentially what the students got to do is they got to create their own virtual and mixed reality environments from scratch. And they got to make controls for hand and controller controls for moving around different objects and stuff like that. Another thing we did is Ready Player View Combi. So with these tools, we were able to create our own 3D characters in which we can use AI to give these 3D characters their own personality and backstory. So the students were able to come up with that and then use them in their augmented reality, virtual reality worlds. some other things are Meta Horizon Worlds. Meta Horizon World is basically a place where it's inside Meta itself allows you to create your own games. So the students were able to use those tools and make their own small video games and apps using Meta Horizon Worlds. Then we also have Meta Workrooms, which is like a lot of things like Zoom, Teams, and it allows us from VR to communicate. And the really important thing I see about this is the fact that you can show off like a lot of your body language. And even if you don't have the VR equipment, you can still access it from a phone or a regular computer. So it's accessible to almost everyone in Canada. And then lastly, we worked on the last thing I want to highlight is Season, which uses Google's AR core, and our students got to create their own story based on Season, which is a photo would be better for this, but it lets us use like Google Maps, right? So 3D models of that integrated into their examples. And then now I'd just like to talk about generally where extended reality is headed. So one of the things extended reality is really into is virtual travel. So you typically, not everybody has enough money to go around to different places and always explore. So we can do that from our homes by using extended reality. And also it allows us to explore places which are typically difficult to access, like small pathways, areas that are like really hot or really cold, so that we won't have to deal with the climate or the environment and still be able to explore them. Another thing is VR training, right? A lot of construction, agriculture, different places. Even like recognizable places like Walmart, for example, they have a lot of VR training they've invested in VR training for their workers. And then a lot of heavy machinery, agriculture, construction, even in the military, they use it to practice using heavy weapons, right? It's really useful since they don't have to waste that equipment. And then the last thing I want to highlight is generally just healthcare, right? Because it allows doctors not to have to pull up to be able to easily visualize stuff like organs or an X-ray and be able to directly compare those things. And then also it's really good for patients because these patients can put on the equipment and use it to deal with stuff like pain management, anxiety, even exposure therapy. Yeah, and then lastly I wanted to give just our thanks to WGC for being able to bring this course to the community and pave out a pathway for them to get into tech and VR. So if we could get a round of applause for
guys, please try the QR code. And we're back. As you guys are checking this out, I wanted to talk about a little bit on the process of what happens to students doing these. So most of the times, everyone can relate to something that they do at home, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Snapchat, things that we already use in our daily life. Well, the goal of this class is to kind of just build backwards from that. So if you've been able to see a face filter and you see someone messing with a face filter, how does that work? And that's pretty much how we use that process of breaking down something that you already experience every other day in your life to the programming side of it. And getting students understanding how those programs are made makes them actually start to think about making them better, making them more inclusive. And just like a simple QR code, this looks simple because you can scan it, you can access it everywhere. But to get a 3D object onto here, students are able to, first of all, learn what is a QR code, how do QR codes work, how do these three boxes end up leading to hosting anything, whether it's a 3D file, a link. And then they start to break that down even more, which is how do we get an object that is 3D and not just a document onto this QR code. And okay, now after they do that, they go, how do we get a 3D object to become 3D? So it's real life. And now most of you guys have already seen it on your phones. Students are breaking down all those small details of creating full stack applications, and they're going from scratch to 100%. And this gives them a chance to, first of all, go do whatever they want with all the new knowledge. But for us, I think the goal of the class is to make sure we can have a chance to do research on the processes of learning computer science. And the cool technology is just a tool. So it's not so much about can you build the coolest app, can you build the coolest 3D avatar with AI, but what happens as you're going through the process? And what happens to your learning skills? How do you find out how you learn best? Is it changing? Are you adapting to a new situation and making it make sense when you're learning something new? And how do you take those skills to learn very complex things and doing them much quicker? Because this is a 10-week class, and we only have like two sessions a week. And yet, by the end of the week, they've learned all the versions of extended reality. They build applications for all of them, and then they get to design their own final projects. So I think that's pretty cool. But I want to qualify Isaiah to share what he learned in the class. This is quite Jesus.
So, I've been to this class like 2 times. It was like last year, like early on this year. Using A-frame would be fun. That's like code, different shapes, objects, and you have to show up like right here, build our own world, show like big details of the planet, the solar system, and shapes here. In the meta world, I feel like that was probably the best part because me and a few other students, not here right now, but me and a few other students like made a basketball court, we were playing, and we got this music in the background, like the sky and everything. It was really fun.
Yeah, any questions, guys?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Why would you say classes like these are important for the students that come, and then also those who may potentially want to become students?
I think classes like these are really important because it breaks down the steps to getting these sort of technology. So when they get to see this different stuff and experiment with them, it really starts to build up their passion, so that way they can start creating different things themselves with this space and really different classes. Yeah, if you guys have any other questions, we'll be here for a little bit longer. Yeah.
Just real quick, is there an age group where a target age group, or you have to be a certain age to, or do you
Not necessarily.
part of the program?
We can simplify it down for younger ages, and also there's more complicated things for older ages. So I'd say it's really just, it's a very diverse class, yeah.
I think our youngest students are like, I think they were 11. And they did a whole coding challenge and they won like $1,400. So after doing this, I'm just saying there's no limits. Go ahead.
So what is the best part from teaching this course?
I think the best part of this for me was being able to get the experience of teaching a class, because this is my first time actually being able to teach a class. I'd really like to thank the all for giving me that opportunity to really just, yeah.
Very good.
I have a question for all the students. What brought you to WGC? How did you find the program? And what do you think would be the best way to get more of your peers interested and involved?
First sister actually worked here last year. My first sister worked here last year, so while we were like staying at their house for like a couple weeks, her sister actually introduced us and told us my brother that did it. So yeah.
And then what about your peers? What do you think you can get more of your peers to be interested?
I mean, all the programs here are already like really fun. So I mean, just like spreading the name out there would be yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else?
All right, guys, we're almost at the end of our evening. We want to thank you guys, but I want to bring up some Director of Program and Services for us. Please give it up for the tall guy. Say a few words.
I out in the back.
I saw.
We want to thank you all for coming out. Thank you all for coming out. This is for work for the students and for doing Grose and ACLT. Help us keep on doing it. So this summer is a great launching pad. We'll be launching in the fall or in the spring. So the students who are in this program, please share the word. They're both here in the room. Please spread the word. As we heard from the guy your name, good sir, love the hair.
Tarek.
What we heard from Tarek is that there just aren't enough community programs. Right? So what we're looking to do is be a hub for community programming, right, and use this as a hub, but also scope it out to other areas here in Central District and across Seattle. So thank you for all that you do, and as you are investing in the students and their companies, those folks you know with the big dollars also have an investment in WGC and ACLT as well. So thank you all for your time. Really appreciate it.
We have some certificates that we're giving to our graduates in the summer program. A little party gift along with that. Yeah, can we get them out here?
But of course we have to warm
I'd like to introduce you guys to the legendary Henry. Goes by my name.
I couldn't do it without my student interns. I think y'all left, but they've been an integral part of making everything come true. So, you know, it's not just me, it's you guys coming in early to help. It's, you know, taking time out of the day to drive all the way to Tacoma at a minute's notice, you know. So it's all you guys just showing up here today. So give you all a round of applause. So first we have Naomi. Next we have Jerusalem. Next we have Jeremiah Lewis. Next we have Emmanuel. Next we have Benjamin.
Hold it up, man. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Great presentation.
Stanley. Next we have Z. A lot of people came here today. Maddie.
Yeah, Maddie.
I always mispronounce your name, but Annie. Next we got Isaiah. cheek. Okay? Cheek it. Right? Next, we got Bentu. So, raise your hand if you get one. Give everyone that round of
So I just also want to say, we want to have group shots of each class with your leader, so if you can just stay in this space, and then we'll kind of navigate that with Anthony being lead on that.
So I want to say something though. I really appreciate the support from Africatown, from the Grose Center, for allowing us to have this great program. Thanks, Ty. Thanks, Henry.
All right. We're gonna bring up to the stage Dr. Gary, the CEO of Africatown Community and Trust. Let's give it up for him. Come on. Y'all inspired?
Yes.
Yeah. I just gotta give it up to Ty and Henry. They're all hard Vice Chair, Ms. Jacqueline, Auntie Jackie, always here showing up, all the instructors. This is special. It's very special. Some of you may not know, but we first created the vision for this space to be an innovation hub in 2012. It took 8 years before, a lot of red tape before we got access and it finally opened in 2022. And to the young geniuses that are in here, this space is just a building without you and the instructors interacting. But really, I've grown up in here, and there's a lot of times there's programs, great programs, equipment, but there's no students in it, right? And so you are really the ones that make this happen, and just to see from digging in the dirt to projecting new worlds across the sky and all of that, AR, virtual world. I mean, it's yes, and this is our little, we got our Carter Jeep Wood, George Washington carvers, right? All the way up, yeah, he gave us our history, all the way up to fashion moguls, right? Wow, to computer scientists, and this is our Tuskegee. Tuskegee was built brick by brick by the students under the leadership of George Washington Carver. So this is where it starts. Just like these are little sprouts and little incubation, that's the same thing this is. But it's all what you can see in the future. So if you can see a campus, it can be a campus. If you can see an old-fashioned school, it's not just, we're making it work, but that's what we want to do. Right? But we're going to make it greater. We know that we're creating new culture, we're creating value that the world is benefiting from every day. And now we have our hub to figure out how we can manage it to benefit our community, so we're not being pushed out of our community. A shout out to James Kevlis, who pushed our video program, went out, got the cameras for us. I think what's going on with the film program. So when I came in that day and got interviewed, I was so inspired by the young people and the work that they were creating, the questions they asked me. It really inspired me. We know there's a lot going on around gun violence and all that in our community. We have some major tragedies, but when you see them with this positive technology in their hands,
we know that there's a path forward. This is it. So it might look small, but we don't know where everyone in this room is going. We just say, just don't forget about us when I get there. Come on back, because that presentation, that pitch for that Nova Garden, I've been to pitches where adults are pitching, and it really wasn't that good. They forgot to tell you the market size and all of that, right? So, man, eventually, you guys keep going. But that's it. We're making a lot out of a little. But with everyone, kind of pitching in, telling someone you might not be able to write the check, we all can do something, right? But someone else who may be able to do more, may have a relationship to bring more resources. And one thing that Meredith mentioned is that we're actually designing our own school right now. Right? So when you think about the problem, so yeah, I seen your eyes light up in the back, right? I saw you, right? So what we want in designing this school is for you who are students currently going through school to help us. If you were to design your own school, what would that look like to engage more students? So we're working on a partnership with Renton Technical College. Students will be able to complete high school, GED, and get up to an AA through William Grose Center. And so that's the next for 25. So we're starting small, but we have big vision, right? And so shout out to Kyle. Avela, they're not just here, they're all over. Anywhere you go, it's like, I was at RVLA today. Avela is just everywhere, right? And it's showing that we have the genius among us to solve the problems in our community. And innovation is just problem solving. We just have to bring some of our brilliance from powering Nike and powering a lot of other things to power solutions in our own community, and that's what this is all about. So thank you for bringing your children, parents. You're bringing your children, your most treasured possession, and you're trusting it. And I know Ty and Henry and the rest of all of the instructors are really, they care. It's more than just a transaction. It's really about transforming not only individuals, but families. We strive to build generational wealth. We strive to have our geniuses. When y'all go get that knowledge from UW or SU, come back and build up our community.
Yes, that's nice.
All right, so that's good. Thank you. We're good to go, everyone. We're gonna have some parting gifts for you, some microgreens.
So you guys stay long.
Look at that screen out on the corner. Sit up over there. One more thing. Ty is missing microgreens. So tell them a little bit more about the value of microgreen nutrition. So,